Welcome to 3 Lanes. This is the 997 buying guide. You can find more information about the 997 on 3lanes.com. This buying guide has been created with the help of AI. There's some omissions that I have found on this podcast episode, but I have made sure to put all the citations and more information in the blog post that it's a companion for this podcast episode. You can find it on 3lanes.com. I hope you enjoy this information and I hope you enjoy what I've been able to create. Again, hope you enjoy it.
Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. This time, we're going to do a deep dive into the world of the Porsche 997 market.
Ooh.
Yeah. We've got a stack of articles and data here. You even sent over some personal notes.
Yep.
And you seem really curious about whether sanity is finally returning to this market.
Yeah, it's a question on a lot of enthusiasts' minds, especially if you're thinking about buying or selling one.
Okay, so just to make sure we're all on the same page, for anyone who might be new to this,
Sure.
the 997 is the sixth generation of the Porsche 911,
Right.
built between 2004 and 2013.
Yeah.
You might hear people call it the Goldilocks 911. Not too big, not too small.
That's right.
But is it priced just right?
That's what we're here to find out.
That's what we're here to find out.
We'll look at recent sales, those desirable specs that can sometimes really drive those prices up, and even touch on some of the mechanical quirks that you need to be aware of with this generation.
Perfect. Now, one of the articles you sent over tells the story of Rob Sass, who
Yes.
is a real 97 enthusiast. And he's bought and sold a few of these cars.
He has, yeah.
And his experiences, I think, are a perfect example of just how volatile this market has been.
Absolutely. I think the personal stories really help to give context to all the numbers and the trends.
So let's dive into Rob's experience a little bit.
Okay.
So he bought a 2009, a 997.2 Carrera Coupe with a 6-speed manual for $36,000 back in 2018,
Okay.
and later sold it for $38,000.
So essentially broke even, after you factor in things like maintenance and insurance and all that.
Right, right. Not a bad outcome, especially considering, he got to enjoy driving this 911 for a few years.
Of course.
But here's where it gets interesting.
Okay.
At the peak of the pandemic craziness, that same car could have fetched around $50,000.
Wow.
What is going on there?
I think, during the pandemic, we saw a confluence of factors.
Yeah.
You had supply chain disruptions, you had increased demand from both collectors and just regular enthusiasts looking for, an escape, and a general sense of uncertainty that drove people toward, tangible assets like cars.
Wow.
So you put all those things together,
Yeah.
and it's no surprise that prices went crazy.
It makes you wonder if anyone really predicted that kind of price jump. It's hard to say. Later, Rob bought a 2010 Carrera Cabriolet.
Okay.
And sold it for about $7,000 more than he paid.
All right, not bad.
Again, not bad, but was he leaving money on the table?
It seems so, because by the time he sold the Cabriolet, the market was already correcting itself.
Right.
That's why, it's so important to analyze these larger trends, not just individual cases.
For sure. So looking beyond Rob's experience, what does the data tell us about the current state of the 997 market?
Well, recent sales data from sources like Cars and Bids, which we both follow,
Of course.
give us, a clearer picture.
Okay.
For example, a black 2010 Carrera Cabriolet with a 6-speed recently sold for $43,500. So that's, considerably less than it might have gone for even just a few months before that.
Does that mean the bubble has burst?
Well, it's hard to say if the bubble has completely burst, but it's clear that prices are softening, in certain segments of the market.
Right.
And it seems like some semblance of normalcy is returning.
Okay.
However, as you hinted at earlier, some 997s are holding their value much better than others.
You're talking about those low mileage examples with the really, desirable specs.
Exactly. The ones that make collectors drool.
Yeah.
The 997 Carrera GTS market, for instance, that's a segment where prices remain quite strong.
Those are highly sought after cars.
They are?
Their performance upgrades and unique styling,
Right.
those contribute to their continued appeal.
For sure.
GTS stands for Gran Turismo Sport, right?
Yes.
So it's kind of the sweet spot between a standard Carrera S and a track-focused GT3.
Yeah, precisely.
Very
But even though those GTS models are holding strong, I'm not convinced that they're going to be a good investment long term.
Okay.
The market is fickle and tastes change.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And we also need to factor in the 9997's age.
That's right.
These aren't brand new cars anymore.
Yep.
And with any aging sports car, mechanical considerations come into play.
Especially with the earlier 997.1 models.
I'm looking at you, IMS bearing.
Oh.
Ooh, yeah.
The infamous point 0.1 versus point 0.2 debate.
Yeah.
It's crucial for any potential buyer to understand, the nuances between those two.
Okay.
The 9997.1 models, built from 2005 to 2008, did have some potential mechanical issues, primarily with the engine.
Right.
The big one, as you mentioned, is the IMS steering, which can fail catastrophically.
Definitely not something you want to be dealing with.
No.
On top of that, there's the risk of bore scoring with the M97 engine, particularly in those 3.6 and 3.8 liter variants. It makes you wonder if the savings on a 0.1 model are really worth the potential headache.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
While the 997.2 models generally command a premium, because of the updated engine and other improvements,
right,
there might be some bargains to be found in that 0.1 market.
Yeah.
If you're willing to do your due diligence.
So a pre-purchase inspection with a bore scope
absolutely.
is a must-have for anyone even thinking about a 9997.1.
For sure.
It can give you, some peace of mind.
Some peace of mind.
But you said earlier that an engine oil analysis is the gold standard for detecting early signs of bore scoring.
Absolutely. It's a relatively inexpensive investment that could potentially save you thousands in the long run.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Interestingly, we're already seeing this risk reflected in the market.
Seems so.
A 2008 Carrera Coupe, a 0.1 model, recently sold on Cars and Bids for $32,500.
Wow.
Which is roughly what you would have expected to pay before all the pandemic craziness.
Right. So it seems that buyers are becoming more cautious, which is a good sign of a maturing market.
Now, even with these price adjustments and, potential mechanical concerns, the 997 remains a highly desirable car.
It does.
It's a modern classic. Yeah. And that appeal probably won't fade anytime soon.
I agree.
It's a beautiful car.
It is.
And this market correction might actually be the perfect opportunity for those who've always dreamed of owning a 997.
I think so.
A chance to get behind the wheel of an incredible driver's car at a potentially more attractive price.
Yeah, for sure.
It's important to remember, though, each car is different. Pre-condition is king.
It really is, yeah.
Now, what about those aftermarket modifications? Can those impact a 997's value in this kind of shifting market?
That's a great point. Certain modifications, done tastefully and with quality parts, can actually enhance a 997's value.
Okay.
Take, for instance, the Moshhammer Tradition RS Aero Kit. It gives the 997 that classic Carrera RS vibe with a front spoiler, side skirts, diffuser, and that, iconic ducktail spoiler.
That's the kit that's been popping up all over my Instagram feed lately.
It's very popular.
Yeah.
And it looks so cool.
I especially love that ducktail spoiler.
Oh, it's iconic.
It is.
And, you see individual components of that kit, too, like the ducktail or the side skirts or the front bumper air vent grill being added to 997s for some added visual, flair.
Yeah. Speaking of those desirable specs and modifications, I think we're seeing an interesting trend where some sellers haven't quite caught up to this market shift.
It seems so.
It seems like, they're still stuck in that 2022 mindset.
I know, right? It's like they're living in a time warp.
Yeah.
There's often a disconnect between sellers' expectations and what buyers are willing to pay, especially during a market correction like this.
Right.
And I've noticed this myself, particularly on platforms like Facebook Marketplace.
Okay, yeah.
Where, I see sellers listing their 997s at prices that would have been reasonable last year.
Sure.
But now, they just get met with comments from potential buyers reminding them that the market has changed.
It takes time for everyone to adjust their expectations.
It does.
Now, before we jump into part 2 and really explore that incredible variety within the 997 generation.
Excited for that.
From that base Carrera to, the legendary GT2 RS.
Oh, yeah.
Let's pause for a moment and reflect. Given everything we've discussed so far, what's your overall take on this question of whether sanity is returning to the 997 market?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I think we're seeing some promising signs.
Okay.
Prices are softening in some segments. Buyers are becoming more discerning, and sellers are slowly, adjusting their expectations.
Right.
However, Certain factors like the continued desirability of certain models and specs might prevent a complete return to pre-pandemic levels.
Right.
So ultimately, I think it's a market in transition.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fascinating to see how it evolves in the coming months and years.
I completely agree. It's a very dynamic market, and staying informed is key for both buyers and sellers.
Absolutely.
We'll delve deeper into those different 997 variants in part 2.
Looking forward to it.
So stay tuned for that.
I will.
All right, we'll see you then.
It's amazing, how the 997, despite being out of production for a while now, still offers such a diverse range of choices.
Yeah.
From more accessible Carrera models to the track-focused GT3s and, the ultra-rare GT2 RS.
Yeah.
There's a 997 out there for practically every Porsche enthusiast.
It's like a choose-your-own-adventure.
It is.
For car lovers.
It is.
But with so much variety, it can be a little overwhelming.
Sure.
Especially if you're new to the 997 world.
Yeah.
Where do you even begin?
Well, I think a good place to start would be to break down some of the key variants. And the things that make them unique.
Right.
You mentioned the Targa earlier. And it's a great example of how Porsche was innovating. Even within this generation.
Right.
That retractable glass roof is a real head turner.
Plus, you get to enjoy some open-air driving.
Yeah.
Without sacrificing too much structural rigidity.
Exactly.
That's a pretty ingenious design.
It is. And with the 997 generation, the Targa was only available with all-wheel drive.
Oh.
So you got that added grip and stability, which is perfect, for those who live in areas with less than ideal weather conditions.
Makes sense. It's like the best of both worlds.
It is.
Classic Porsche styling with modern technology.
Yeah, I think so.
But let's be honest. When most people think of the 997, they think of the legendary Carrera.
Of course.
That's the heart and soul of the 911 lineage.
Absolutely.
Would you agree?
I would agree. The Carrera is the entry point to the 997 world.
Okay.
And it's available in, a variety of configurations. You can choose between a coupe or cabriolet body style.
Okay.
You can even opt for all-wheel drive with the Carrera 4.
Right.
So, there's a lot of choices there.
And then, of course, there's the Carrera S.
Oh, yeah.
Which steps things up in terms of performance.
The S models get that larger, more powerful engine.
Yeah.
Sportier suspension, bigger brakes. And, often that wonderful sports exhaust system.
Love it.
Yeah, it's a noticeable step up in terms of, driving dynamics.
Oh, that Porsche sound. It's intoxicating.
But if raw power is what you're after,
the
997 Turbo is where it's at.
Okay, tell me more.
The Turbo was a serious machine.
Yeah?
It packed a twin turbocharged flat six engine.
Wow.
Delivered, mind-blowing acceleration.
And with the 0.2 update, the Turbo got even more potent.
You're right. They bumped up the displacement.
Yeah.
Squeezed out even more horsepower.
Crazy.
It was something else.
The Turbo was a true testament to Porsche's engineering prowess.
I agree.
Incredible performance with surprising everyday usability.
Yeah, they really nailed it with that car.
Okay, I need to take a deep breath here for a second because things are about to get really exciting.
Okay.
We need to talk about the GT models.
Oh, yes.
These are the 911s that send shivers down my spine.
The GT models are in a league of their own.
Totally.
They represent, the pinnacle of Porsche performance.
Yeah.
And they're designed for, those who want the ultimate track-focused experience.
So the GT3, with its naturally aspirated engine, stripped-down interior, aggressive aerodynamics, it's a true driver's car.
It is. And then there's the, even more hardcore GT3 RS.
Oh, my gosh.
Which takes things to a whole new level.
Yeah.
Wider tires, a bigger wing, and a suspension tuned for maximum grip.
Oh, wow.
It's practically a race car for the road. You're making me want to book some track time.
You should.
I should.
Yeah.
And let's not forget the limited production GT3 RS 4.0.
Oh, the 4.0.
The swan song of the 997 generation.
Yeah, right.
It's like the holy grail.
It is.
For many Porsche enthusiasts.
The 4.0 is a masterpiece.
It is.
It had that incredible 4.0-liter engine that, revved to the moon.
Oh, man.
It was lighter and, even more track-focused than the regular RS.
Wow.
It's a true collector's item.
It really is.
Speaking of rare and desirable, we can't forget about the GT2.
Oh, yes, the GT2.
The GT2 was a beast in its own right.
It was. It was.
It was all about raw, unadulterated performance.
Yeah.
But it was also notoriously demanding to drive.
Right. And then they dropped the GT2 RS.
Oh, yeah.
Which was, well, Insane.
Insane. Over 600 horsepower, rear-wheel drive, and a massive wing.
It was not for the faint of heart.
It earned the nickname Widowmaker for a reason.
Yeah.
But it was a true legend.
And it instantly became, a highly sought-after collector's car.
Wow. It's mind-boggling to think that all of these incredible machines
I know, right?
are part of the 997 family.
It really is. And it speaks to the versatility and enduring appeal of the 911 platform.
For sure. From the everyday Carrera
Right.
to the track-ready GT models.
Yep.
The 997 generation truly offers something for everyone.
It really does.
But with all these choices, how does someone even begin to decide which 997 is right for them?
Well, I think it all comes down to figuring out your priorities.
Okay.
What's your driving style?
Right.
And, of course, your budget.
Of course.
And don't forget about the options.
Oh,
Porsche is famous for its extensive options list.
Oh, yeah.
And ticking certain boxes can have a big impact on a car's value.
Right.
And, its overall driving experience.
Like the Sport Chrono package,
Yes.
ceramic brakes, special paint color.
Yeah, those things can add thousands of dollars to the price tag. And they can make a 997 truly unique.
Right. So if you're serious about buying a 997,
Yep.
it's crucial to do your research,
Absolutely.
understand the different variants, and carefully consider those options that really align with your needs and preferences.
For sure.
So we've talked about market trends.
We have.
We've explored the different 997 variants. We've even touched on the importance of understanding those optional extras.
Yeah.
But there's one more piece of the puzzle we need to address here.
Okay.
The emotional side of owning a 997. What is it about these cars that make them so special?
That's the question, isn't it?
Why do they capture the hearts and imaginations of enthusiasts all around the world?
It's about more than just, the numbers and specs.
Right.
The 997, like all great Porsches, has a certain soul.
It's hard to define,
It is.
but impossible to ignore.
You can feel it when you slide behind the wheel.
Yeah.
You hear that engine roar to life, and you experience the incredible handling and performance.
Right.
It's a feeling that's hard to put into words.
It's a connection, a sense of history and heritage,
Yep.
and a feeling of being part of something truly special.
Absolutely. And that's something that transcends, market trends and price fluctuations.
It's about the pure joy of driving, the thrill of pushing a machine to its limits,
Right.
and the undeniable allure of owning a piece of automotive history.
And I think that's why
Yeah.
the 997 will continue to be a highly sought-after car,
Yeah.
for years to come.
It's a timeless classic.
And its appeal is only going to grow.
Now, before we wrap up part 2, let's take a moment to acknowledge that choosing a 997
Yeah,
can be a daunting task.
it can be.
There are so many options,
There are.
so many factors to consider.
But, that's also part of the fun.
It is.
It's a journey of discovery,
It
a
is.
chance to explore your own automotive desires and find the 997 that perfectly matches your vision.
Love that. Love that.
In part 3, we're going to dive into a thought-provoking question
Okay.
that'll help you further refine your 997 dreams and maybe even inspire you to take the plunge.
It's going to be an exciting conclusion to our 997 deep dive.
It is.
Stay tuned. We've covered a lot of ground in this 997 deep dive,
We have
from personal anecdotes and market trends to those desirable specs and even those potential mechanical quirks. I think we've really explored what makes this generation of the 911 so special.
We've seen how the prices have fluctuated in recent years,
Yeah.
with some 997s holding their value better than others.
Right.
We also talked about why it's so important to do your research, especially if you're considering a 997.1 model
Right.
with that infamous IMS bearing issue.
Yeah. And who could forget about that incredible variety within the 997 family?
Right.
Carreras, Targas, Turbos, GT3s.
It's crazy.
There's truly a 997 out there for every taste and budget.
I think so.
It's been quite a journey.
It really has.
And now it's time for that final thought-provoking question.
Okay.
We promised you.
Right.
The one that's been simmering in the background throughout this entire deep dive.
Yeah.
It's a question designed to make you think about your own 997 dreams.
I like it.
All right.
Hit me.
If you were in the market for a 997 right now,
Okay.
what specific model and features would you prioritize?
Okay.
And just as important, why?
It's a good one.
Would you be drawn to the raw, engaging experience
Okay.
of a 997.1 Carrera with a manual gearbox?
Ooh, looks tempting.
Or would you prefer the more refined and powerful feel of a 997.2 Carrera S with that light and fast PDK transmission?
I do love the PDK.
Maybe you'd be captivated by that unique style of a Targa with that retractable glass roof.
Yeah.
Or maybe the all-weather capability of a Carrera 4 would appeal to your practical side.
Right.
And let's not forget about those dream car 997s.
It's the turbos and GT3s.
Here we go.
If you had the means, would you go all in on one of those performance icons?
Tough choices.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So think about it.
Okay.
Your ideal 997 build, the one that would put a smile on your face every single time you get behind the wheel.
Right.
What does it look like?
Okay, I'm thinking.
What options would you absolutely have to have?
Gotta have those.
Would you tick the box for the Sport Chrono package?
Nice.
Those powerful ceramic brakes?
Ooh, yeah.
Or maybe even splurge on a rare paint color?
That's tempting.
I know.
It's a tough choice.
This is your chance to let your imagination run wild. Create your dream 997 and don't hold back.
No holding back.
We'd love to hear what you come up with.
Yeah.
Share your dream 997 spec with us on social media or through our website.
Absolutely. Let us know.
Let's keep this conversation going.
Let's keep it going.
And with that, I think we've reached the end of our Geeked Up. That went by fast.
Into the Porsche 997 market.
Yeah, it did.
We hope you found it insightful, maybe even a little bit inspiring, and that you've come away with a deeper understanding of this truly special car.
I think we accomplished that.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure exploring the world of the 997 with you.
Likewise, the pleasure was all mine.
Until next time, happy Porsche dreaming.
There you have it. That's the episode. These two people that you just heard talking about Porsche 997 have been created by AI. I think it's amazing what's been created. That's one of the main reasons what pushed me to do this, mainly because I'm still self-conscious about my voice, but also all the information that these people put together. Well, I say people, but it's actually computers. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments, suggestions, complaints, please leave them on the comments. You can leave them on the website, or you can just message me on social media. Anything would be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much again for listening, and have a great rest of your day.